everyone, it's Nadia from YARNutopia. Today we're making this super simple bookmark. This is a lot of fun to make. It's different parts and we sew them together and we make this super fun tassel that can hang out the top of your book. So I'll get into the supplies we need and then I'll get into making this bookmark. Now, big thank you to Red Heart Yarns for providing this yarn today. This is called Scrubby Smoothie. It is 100% cotton and it is so soft and luscious, and it's kind of thin too. Although it does say it's a size 4 medium, which is similar to like a worsted weight yarn, it's more closer to like a double knitting or even a fingering weight yarn. It's really thin, or I guess sock yarn. Fingering weight yarn is a little thinner, I think. So I'm using 3 different colors today. I'm using blueberry, aqua. Blueberry is the darker color, then aqua is the second color, and then this color is called royal. You can use the same colors as me, although I did make another bookmark using a smaller sized hook, and I used these colors. This is coral, aqua, and the yellow color. I don't know the name of it, but all of this is linked in the description of this video, so you can check out the Scrubby Smoothie yarn. And like I said though, you can use any yarn you want. I would recommend a thinner yarn just to fit in your book, so your book isn't wide open, and bulky yarn is just not going to fit in between the pages. So this is a nice thin bookmark that will fit into your book, and you won't lose your spot. So like I said though, I recommend this yarn or a thinner yarn like a double knitting or a fingering weight or a sock yarn. Now we are going to use a G-size hook to demonstrate this tutorial today. This fancy crochet hook is from the Etsy shop, Would Be Fancy. It's a hand-carved ergonomic wooden handled crochet hook. You can get these at the Etsy shop, Would Be Fancy. Make sure to like their Facebook page and check out all the other wooden items they have as well. And so the demonstration is going to show with the G hook. This is what we're going to demonstrate today, this blue one. However, this crocheted bookmark is made using an F hook, which is 3.75 millimeters. And if you line them up together, you can see that this one is slightly shorter and slightly skinnier. So that is the difference, but they both will work exactly the same and mark your page when you are going to take a break from your book. Also, we are going to make this tassel, which is super fun, but this first one has this basic tassel that I just found a YouTube video online, and I just, I like it, it's cute, but I wanted to make a more popping tassel, and so I made this one, which is really fun. So I'll show you how to do that. You're going to also need a scissors and a yarn needle to cut yarn, sew things together. We're actually making 5 squares and then sewing them together, and you're going to have to sew in some ends as well. So make sure you get those supplies. Everything is linked in the description of this video. Free written pattern on YARNutopia.com. All the links to get all these supplies and where to get this crochet hook. I have to say a big thank you to Red Heart Yarns there. Big thank you to my dad for editing and filming this video and posting it up for us. Make sure you subscribe to our channel here on YouTube so we can give you that notification on when my dad posts our next video on YouTube. Alright. I think that's all the information I have to give. Make sure you check out Facebook and Instagram. Everything is linked in the description of this video. Hit that like button and let's get started and make this bookmark. Alright, let's start out with a slip knot. So put your short end over your long end. Then fold this down right here and then pull this through and pull tight. And there's your slip knot. To start off, we're going to make the first round of a granny square. So, and then we're just going to fasten off. So, a granny square, we're going to start out by chaining 4. So yarn over and pull through 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to go into the very first chain right here and slip stitch to form a ring. So go in and then yarn over and pull that through and pull through the loop on your hook. Okay, so we formed a ring. Now if you want to start with a magic ring, you can do that too, but I just like to start this way. And we're going to just chain 1 very loosely. So you can see my loop is up a little bit there. I'm just going to chain 1 loosely, just like that. And now in this ring, I'm going to put 3 double crochets. Yarn over, go into the ring, then yarn over and pull through, then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through those other two loops, and that's a double crochet. So there's one, yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. There's two, and one more, three. Now we're going to make the corner, so we're going to chain two, oops, yarn over, pull through, one and two, and in that same ring here we're going to put 3 more double crochets. So make 3 more double crochets in there. 1, 2, and 3. And then again another corner, so we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and then make 3 more double crochets into that ring. 1, 2, and 3. Oops. 3. There we go. Then the next corner, so you can kind of see we're almost done here. Chain 2, 1 and 2, and put 3 more double crochets into the ring. 1, 2, and 3. Oops, there we go. 3. Okay. So now we have just one corner to go. Just chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to slip stitch to the very first stitch right here, this first double crochet. So ignore this chain 1, just go into the double crochet stitch right here, yarn over, pull through and through. And then to fasten this off, we're just going to chain 1. We're going to cut our yarn long for sewing, just a tad longer, there we go. Pull it all the way through that chain 1 and pull it tight. Okay, so we have a mini square. Now on mine, I didn't do the magic ring, so I have this little hole here in the center. So all I want to do is just take my straggler here and kind of just pull it tight, just like that, and that closes the center hole. I can also take my yarn needle, okay, and yarn my needle with that yarn and go underneath the stitches at the base of the stitches on this round and sew that in and then pull it tight. And then I can cut that extra yarn just like that. So this is the front right here, and to know it's the front of your work, you can see the stitches on this side. You can see that they are like sideways V's, okay, like this. Okay, that's the front of your work. Now if you flipped this around and looked at the back, you don't see those V's. Okay, if you turn your work this way, you can see them because this side is the right side and this side is the wrong side, or the back side. So we want to be able to see the right side. Okay, so what you need to do is you can make as many of these as you want. I'm making 5, so make 5 of these, or however long you want your bookmark to be, and I'll meet you up when I have all of mine made and we can go on to the next step. Alright, once you have all 5 of your little mini squares finished, they look like little pixels, they're super cute, we're going to sew them together. So what we're going to have is this long strand that we cut for sewing. We're going to have them all facing the same direction. So on the right side of our square, I'm going to lay this down with a long strand. Then this one, the long strand, is on the right side, hanging down. Okay, this is on the right side of the square, hanging down, and right side and right side. So they're all that way. Okay, so now what we're going to do, and make sure you can see the right side. Remember I showed you the right side and the wrong side, so make sure you can see the right side. We're going to take our yarn needle, okay, yarn our needle with the first square here, just like this. We're going to flip the right side to face this right side right here. So we're just going to flip it over, just like that. There we go. Okay. And now we have to sew these two sides together. Now I want to get back into this chain space of this square right here, it looks like I'm on this stitch right here. So I'm just going to go backwards into this chain of the corner. Okay, just like that. So I went from the inside out. Okay, now I'm going to come over the top like this and go into the chain of this corner right here. Okay, that's the second chain. You can see chain 1 and chain 2 of the corner. We're going to make sure we match up all the chain and all the chains and all the stitches. Okay, and then we're going to come over the top into this very next stitch on this square over here, which is where we slip stitched on our last round. Okay. Then we're going to come over the top into the inside. This is called a mattress stitch, going from the inside out and then coming over the top and going from the inside out on the other piece. Okay. And we have to get through the 4 stitches on the side plus the chains on the corners as well. Okay. Almost done. So I'm at the chain of this corner right here and the chain of this corner right here. Awesome. So these are sewn together. Then to fasten this off, we are going to come back around. You can see I'm going from the outside now through the stitches, both layers. I'm going to keep my finger in this loop, and then I'm going to come back through the loop, either side. You can go this way or this way, it does not matter, and pull my finger out and pull this tight. And then we're just going to flatten this out and sew this in. Now this is the back side of our work, so I'm just going to sew this in the back side of our work. Okay, and then you want to make sure that you stretch this out so you don't have these going inward because you pulled the yarn tight. So stretch this out just like that. And if you need to sew this in some more, you can. Otherwise, just trim the excess yarn. And those are sewn together. This is the right side, this is the front side. Okay, this is the back side of the work. You can kind of see the difference. So now, this next one, we are going to attach our yarn needle to, we're going to yarn our needle with this straggler. So we have these two. I'm attaching the long straggler yarn to this yarn needle here. And I'm taking this next square, make sure that this long strand is on the right side of it, and we're going to put them down so that the right sides are facing each other. And we're going to do the same exact thing we did. So go back into this corner of this one, and then just mattress stitch across. Oopsie. I got a little strand in there, my bad. So just mattress stitch across and attach these. And then fasten that off. And then add the next square and the next square so that all of your squares are attached by sewing. And then once your squares are all attached and all your ends are sewn in, then I will meet you back up. We'll go on to making the border, and then after the border is the tassel. Alright, when you have all your squares sewn together, this is what it should look like. Now, I mean, if you wanted to fasten off here and just have this as your bookmark, you can, but I do want to add a little border and then a tassel as well. So on this 5th square, you actually don't really need this long strand. I just used it for the sewing, so the 5th square you can actually just cut the short strand and just sew that in. I'm going to crochet over the top of it to sew it in. You want to start this we're going to go around the bookmark now with a border. So you want to start this next round in this corner right here. So next to a short side, this top right corner. So we're going to go into that corner, chain 2 space, hook on our new yarn and pull that through, and then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to put 3 single crochets in this chain 1 or this chain 2 corner space here. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. That's a single crochet. So we have to put 3 in there. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. So go into this next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Next stitch, and you can see I'm crocheting over the top of this straggler as well to sew that in so I don't have to sew it in later. It's just a convenient thing. Now in this next corner right here, we're going to put 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. Now in this chain space right here, this next corner, we're just going to put 1 single crochet. So go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Now to get to the next chain space of the next square here, we're going to chain 1 and then go into the next chain space of the next square, go into that corner, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, just put 1 single crochet in there. And then single crochet into the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3, and just repeat. So single crochet, oopsie, my yarn got tangled for some reason here. Single crochet into this corner right here, then chain 1, and then single crochet, hop to the next square in this corner right here, single crochet in there. And just repeat. So single crochet in the next 3 stitches, then single crochet into this chain space, chain 1, and then single crochet into the next chain space, and single crochet into the next 3 stitches, and do that until this corner here. I'll meet you up at this corner and we'll go on to the next step. Alright, once you get to this corner here, we're going to put 3 single crochets into this corner. 1, 2, and 3, and then single crochet in each one of these next 3 stitches. And then in the next corner, we're going to put 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Now on this side, this opposite side here, we're just going to repeat exactly what we did for this side here. So we just need to single crochet into each stitch, put 1 single crochet in the chain spaces of each square's corner, but make sure that you chain 1 after the corner to go into the next chain space of the next square. So chain 1, go into the next square, that corner, single crochet in there, and then single crochet into each stitch. And do that all the way to the end, and when I'm done with this round, I will meet you up. We'll go on to the next round together. Alright, when you're done, we want to slip stitch to this beginning single crochet right here. So you can see the 3 single crochets in the corner, 1, 2, and 3. Just go into the first one and then slip stitch. So yarn over, pull through, and pull through. And then we're going to fasten off this color, so I'm going to chain 1 and cut this yarn. And I'll sew in that end later. I'll pull this through and pull that tight. Okay. For this next round, I'm actually going to flip this around to this top right here. And we're going to start in the middle single crochet of this corner. You can start in the middle single crochet of any corner, really. But I'm going to start in this corner here. So the opposite corner of where we fastened off, just flip it around and start in this corner before a short side, okay? And we're going to start in the middle single crochet. So you can see 1, 2, 3, right in the middle single crochet there. Insert your hook, pull your new yarn through, chain 1, and in that same stitch we are going to put a single crochet. Then we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to single crochet back into that same stitch. Alright, now we are going to single crochet into the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, this is the middle stitch of the side. Sorry, here we go, middle stitch of this side. And we're going to make a loop right here to attach our tassel to later. Now if you don't want to add a tassel, you can just continue single crocheting till the middle single crochet of this next corner. But if you're going to add a tassel, just make a picot, which is chaining 3, 1, 2, 3, and then slip stitch to the first chain there. So right at the base here you can see 1, 2, 3. At the back side there's a little loop right there. Just go in, yarn over, and pull it through and through the loop on your hook. Okay, we'll come back to that later. Then we're going to single crochet into the next 1, 2, 3 stitches. Sorry, 1, 2, and 3. You should be in the middle single crochet of the corner here. We're going to chain 2 and single crochet into that same stitch of that corner, just like that. Now we're going to single crochet into each stitch until the next corner, into the next middle single crochet of the next corner there, and in that stitch we are going to single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet, all in that same middle single crochet. Now for these chain 1 spaces on the side, you can just single crochet into the chain 1 space, or you can go into the top 2 loops of the chain. There should be 1 loop underneath, and just single crochet into that. So I'm actually going to go into the chain itself. You can see that 1 loop underneath there, and I'm just going to single crochet into the chain. So single crochet into each stitch and each chain across this side until the corner. Like I said, in the corners, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. And then just do that all the way around, just single crochet around this whole piece. And then once we are done with this round, we can fasten this off. I'm going to fasten off a little differently, and I'll show you that next. Alright, when you're finishing, I'm actually going to fasten off with doing a different type of thing. So I'm not going to actually slip stitch to this first single crochet. I'm just going to cut my yarn and pull it through this stitch. Okay, then I'm going to take my yarn needle, and I'm going to take that strand, and I'm going to yarn my needle with it, and then we're going to go in from the front to this first stitch right here to the back. Okay, and then we're going to go into the stitch where this is coming out of right here, down the back of the stitch. And if you look and pull tight, it looks like a stitch. And you can pull tight, secured, it looks like an actual stitch. And that way, it's like a seamless finish. And then you can just go behind some of the stitches down here, go back through them. Kind of, if you wanted to make a knot in the back, you could, but I'm just going to loop it around a bunch of these stitches, and it should be secure and it won't unravel. Plus it's a bookmark, so nobody's going to be really, like, you know, rough with it. I mean, unless their book is really intense. But this will not unravel. It's gonna stay really nice and durable. So trim that. I have this end to sew in, I'll do later, but we do want to add a tassel to this little picot right there. So what I'm going to do is set this aside, and I'm going to grab the same color as my last round of this piece here, And what we're going to do is we are going to grab this yarn, we're going to measure it out. I guess you can use your measure tape if you want to, or just kind of eyeball it, the length that you want it to be. So I'm thinking about 16 inches long here, okay? And what you want to do is just do a bunch of strands of a 16-inch long strand, and half of that is going to be your tassel length. I hope this makes sense. So I'm going to hold it here, I'm going to pull another strand out and another strand out. So they're all going to be the same length. And if you look here, I have 3 strands here. This is going to be 2, 4, 6, because in half it's going to be the length. So 2 strands, 4 strands, 6 strands, 8 strands, here's 10 strands, 12, 14, 16, 18. I'll do 20 strands on this one. That's a pretty large enough type of tassel. And if you want to, put this in half and see the thickness of the strands all together and come down a little bit. You can see that that is pretty thick. Okay, so that's going to be the tassel. So now I'm going to cut my yarn just like this. Now what we're going to do is lay this down, like this, okay? And we are going to grab my other color, one of the other colors. You can choose any color you want. You can use a variegated yarn or the same color, totally up to you. And eyeball where the halfway point is. So right about here is about halfway. And we're going to actually go about an inch to the left. So right here is where we want to pinch our piece. And then we're going to take our new piece of yarn, tie it around that piece right there, just like that. Now I'm going to take this little straggler strand and I'm going to wrap around it. And we're going to take this long strand that's attached to the ball of yarn here. We're going to wrap this about till this side, till this much about here, till this side, on this side of the knot, is equal to this side. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this around and it's going to be tight. So this is our tassel here. So we're just wrapping around. And at first it's a little awkward, but then it gets better as you go. And what I noticed is if I just twist the tassel, just keep turning it, then my yarn won't get tangled. Okay, so it is going to take some time. You don't have to watch me do the whole thing, but you can see I'm twisting and twisting, and I'm wrapping this little strand underneath as well. Okay, making sure to cover all of the strands completely so there's no gaps between the strands or anything. Okay, just like that. So I'm going to wrap this around until the opposite end is equal to this end. So it'll take me a little bit, but once I get there, I'll show you what to do next. Alright, so I just wrapped this around here. This is about 3.5 inches worth. And if you loop this down here, kind of round it out, it should be pretty stiff. And then you can see that this is very similar, like the length on each side is equal, or very close to being equal. And we are actually going to cut this about right here anyways, or I guess however long you want your tassel to be. But at this point I am going to cut this yarn, but you want to cut it a little bit, just a little tad bit longer, about right here. As I go longer, I just get really nervous about unwinding and everything. So then what we're going to do, oopsie, My ring got caught on it here. We're going to hold this and we get rid of this color. Okay, so we're going to bend this in half like I just showed you here, equal sides, just like this. And I have that still pinched in my hand here. I'm going to take this and wrap this around the whole thing a couple of times. Okay, just to kind of weave that in, just like that. And we're going to still pinch that. We're grabbing our other color and we are going to wrap this around. If you have an extra hand or something, just to tie a nice little one loop knot. There we go, got it. And we are going to take this long strand, this is my other color, so we're going to take this long strand and we're going to wrap just around in this little section here, okay? So around and covering just this little section. And I'm working over the top of these two stragglers, okay, because we'll cut those short later. So I'm just going to keep twisting. And you don't want this section to be too big, just enough to keep it wrapped and tight, and so this doesn't unwind or anything. So I'm going to wrap this, and then when I'm ready to fasten this part off, I'll show you what to do next. Alright, I've wrapped this enough, just a little bit from this point onto the actual tassel strands, and now I'm going to cut it as long as my other straggler right here. I'm going to take those two strands, just these two from this wrap here, and we're going to tie those in a little loop knot, just one. So crisscross and then just loop it. Make sure you pinch it just like that, so you can't even see it, and this is the back of the tassel anyways. Okay, and as for this little strand here, you can cut that short. That is not going anywhere. Okay, and then just kind of slide this down to cover that. There, that's gone. Now for these two strands here, if you want to, you can tie it in a full knot. So again, loop and cross over, but you don't have to do that. It's not going to go anywhere. I'm going to take this yarn needle and yarn my needle with each strand and try to go up into, I know it's going to be because it's so tight, but we're going to go up into this piece. All the way up to the top, underneath all those strands, just like that, and then we can cut that one. Okay, and again, this one. Yarn my needle, whoopsie. Yarn my needle. I actually made the same exact tassel for the Poppin' Petals purse. Say that 5 times fast. The Poppin' Petals purse. If you haven't seen that project, it's a nice little bag that has a tassel on it, similarly to how we made this tassel. Very fashionable. Okay, and cut that. Okay, now we just have one step left, well, a couple steps actually. We have to still attach this to our bookmark. So now we're going to cut the bottom however long you want it to be. I'm going to go a little bit longer because I want this to hang out this outside of the book. So I'm going to go to about right here, and actually a little longer there, right here, and just cut like a hairdresser all the way across. And that's how the tassel is going to look. Now we just have to attach it to our bookmark. So we're going to grab our bookmark. Here it is. I still have to sew in this end. We're going to take the color that the last round is. So this one right here. I'm just going to cut a strand. We're going to loop it through here. Okay, and then you want to see how low you want it to fall from the bookmark. So just like an inch or so. So we're going to take it and do like a slip knot. Okay, so cross over like this, then go through that loop and then pull that tight. Okay, and you can go closer or further away from your tassel as much as you want. Right there is good. Pull tight. Okay, then what we're going to do is take one of those strands going in through the top here. We might need a yarn needle to do this. Just go in through the picot to the other side. Okay, and just make sure everything's not twisted. There we go. And then we're going to tie this in a knot, but a different type of knot. Sorry, my hands are like in the way. But we're going to take these two strands and we're just going to crisscross them and tie them in a regular knot. Crisscross and loop. A regular knot. Okay, then we're just going to take those two strands and yarn our needle with those two, and we're just going to sew them in. We're just going to hide them, and they won't ever be seen. So just sew them in underneath the stitches of the last round. Alright, like this. Okay, then you can just go back and forth a couple of times just to make sure that it is fully hidden. And stretch it out. Cut your yarn. And I just have one more little end to sew in, but that's it. This bookmark is complete. The nice thing about the tassel is that it can hang out the outside, the top side of the book, and have that be your bookmark kind of decoration. So, oopsie, there we go. Just sew that in, cut any extra, and that's the back side anyway. And there it is. How lovely. Wow, that actually turned out really nicely. I'm really proud of that one. I did make another one with a smaller hook, an F-size hook, which is brighter colors. So you can use any kind of colors you want. You can use this cotton yarn, which is Scrubby Smoothie. Or you can use, fingering weight, a double knitting yarn, or lace yarn, and any size hook. But I demonstrated with a G hook, I think, in this one. Yes, a G hook. But you can use an F hook, which is 3.75 millimeters, and it's just a tad smaller. As you can see, the height is a little bit smaller. But they both turned out great. This is just a basic tassel on this one. I just saw a YouTube video out there of just how to make a basic tassel, and I wasn't too impressed with it on this one, but it's still cute. But I really like the design of this tassel here. So have fun with it, and make some nice bookmarks for the book lover in your life or for yourself, and read in style. Big thank you to Red Heart Yarns for providing this yarn today. Big thank you to my dad for filming and editing this tutorial and posting it up on YouTube for us. And big thank you to you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and check out my Facebook and Instagram. And if you make this, let me know what you're reading, because I always want to know what books to read next. And my book list is always growing, so I want to know what you're reading. And also, if you make this bookmark, share it on social media and hashtag YARNutopia. Until next time, happy hooking!